All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, good morning.
Awesome. All right. What's up, Trevor?
Hi, how are you? Thanks for
Good.
helping out. Appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, yeah. We don't want anybody making a bunch of bad mistakes. I deal with fixing. Or I don't fix other people's mistakes. I deal with people that made the mistake, and they go, "What can I do to fix it?" And it's like, well, you already made the mistake. Like it's like using super glue to build your Lego set, right? It's like, oh crap, I didn't really want to do that. Now you're sort of screwed. So
Right.
you got to start all over. But where are you located? Where are you physically located?
Tucson, Arizona.
Oh, you're in Tucson. I'm in Phoenix right now, actually,
Okay.
as you can tell by the palm trees.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm actually from here originally, so I went to U of A actually.
Okay, cool. Very good.
So I haven't been down in a while, but anyway. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing and what you're trying to do, so we can make sure we get you on the right path. I know Sebastian's working on getting helping you find buyers for the wraps. But first question I have is how are you how are you acquiring? Like what's the under how are you acquiring it before you're actually wrapping? I need to know that first.
Yeah, so this is my first creative deal. And so certainly
Okay.
this to change, but so I'm a member of Subto and just working with other members of Subto that have deals and looking for properties in a limited number of states,
Okay.
in Texas, where um the purchase, or excuse me, the amount of money required to get into the deal is either under 30,000 or less than 10% of the purchase price. Ideally the existing interest rate, 4.5% or less. um and yeah, I mean that's.
Yeah, and all that's great, and that's what people teach you, but that has absolutely no bearing or potential impact on whether it's a deal or not. So this is what I see every single time. This is the number one mistake most investors make. They're trying to get into a low cost of entry or a low interest rate, and even although those are both obviously factors, but they are not the sole determining factor if it's a deal or not. In fact, I would argue the fact that higher entry fees are better deals long term, and the amount of money that you can make when you forecast it out over time. Uh, my I would do way more money on a 50 or 60 or $70,000 entry fee than I ever do on a 5 or 10,000. The reason is because I may have an equity position in the deal, but I also it just because you're doing when you understand amortization, you understand how amortization works, and you have time on your side and you have it structured correctly. This is why I built the whole deal evaluator software. So I would highly recommend that you get on our calls and see how we structure these deals from on the acquisition side, and then from the structure, because it's one thing for Sebastian to do what he's going to do, but if you don't do it right on the beginning, it doesn't make a damn difference. Okay. So, like, did you already buy this property that Sebastian's selling on the wrap?
Yes.
And who closed that transaction for you?
Tiago Title.
Okay,
And
good. So obviously, did Sebastian tell you to use them, or how did? Because that's my partner in one of my two attorney partners and all the stuff that I do. So I only use two attorneys in the state of Texas, John Clemenson and Alan Tesker, because they are the only two competent attorneys, in my opinion, that can structure these deals from acquisition to disposition, including being a lender on how to understanding it, being a lender. Because at the end of the day, we are lenders to consumers. That's exactly what you're doing when we create this wrap mortgage. Okay. Whereas this is what no one teaches you. This thing doesn't teach it. Dude, I just talked to Pace not that long ago, about a week ago. The, it's finding deals is easy. Finding buyers is easy. Structuring the deal is very complex, and if you don't do it right, will cost you tens of thousands of dollars and potentially legal problems. So we want to avoid all of that. Okay. And the only way that we need to do that is, but you have to think like a bank, act like a bank, and be a bank. You have to understand what a lender is to a consumer, because that's exactly what we are doing here. You're a lender to a consumer. This is not some random real estate transaction. Okay. This is what this is what no one teaches, no one helps understand. Even the attorneys, when you go to an attorney, a random title company and a random attorney, they're not looking at it from a lender perspective. They're looking at it from a legal perspective. Two entirely different things. So let me ask you a question. If you were to go down to Bank of America, Chase, or Wells Fargo and apply to get a loan, do you think 2 seconds they would let some random attorney at a title company create their promissory notes, their closing disclosures? Do you think they would let them underwrite the borrower and set up the servicing? The answer is absolutely not. Okay. So if they wouldn't do it, why would you do it? Well, the only reason why you wouldn't do it is because you don't have the facilities and the infrastructure to do it, right? So you have to somehow create that opportunity. This is where the biggest disconnect is. You know, there's a dude inside Subto, and I'm not going to mention the name, and you probably have seen it and stuff. He did over 100 of these Subto acquisitions and screwed them all up. Okay, and they're consulting with me to say, hey, what can we do to fix it? Well, goes back to my hey, you shouldn't have freaking put super glue when you built your Lego project. Now you got a problem because once you sign that closings with that buyer and or the seller, you're sort of screwed. Okay, you have to unravel the whole thing, and to unravel something that's already been created, extremely complex, extremely difficult. It's just you're almost better off just getting out of that transaction completely, paying off the underlying debt, write a check if you have to, and moving on to the next deal. Okay. So we want to mitigate the risk because I laugh all the time. Not really laugh, but people go, I just did a little video the other day and it's, people go, well, what about the due on sale? Okay. I hear this all the time. Well, what about the due on sale? My question is, what about the due on sale? I could give two rips about a due on sale clause. And here's the reason why. Due on sale is like Aliens, the Loch Ness Monster, and Sasquatch to me. Okay. I haven't seen any of them in person. And only the pictures that I've seen have been very fuzzy, grainy images. Okay. So do I believe that they are out there and they exist? Yeah, I guess I believe there's probably, extraterrestrial beings that we don't know about. Yeah, sure. But until they show up and sit next to me right here, I don't really care. And that's what I feel about due on sale. Because until a financial institution that I have something that I have underlying debt on comes and says, give me, pay off this debt, or else we're gonna take legal action and foreclose. It's never happened to me. I've done this over 1,500 times. Literally signed my name on over 1,500 wrap mortgages closing statements. Go look it up. You can go find every one of them. Okay. I've never had a bank ever take me to the finish line. Never. And it's not going to happen. Well, first of all, I can fix the problem. And the way I can fix the problem is how do you think it is? Is by creating high quality bank quality mortgage notes that give me the flexibility to do a couple things. Guess what I can do if I underwrite a buyer correctly? I can sell that note. I can leverage that note. I can hypothecate that note. I can parcel the notes. This is what no one does. Okay. So the structuring of the deal is by far way more important than anything. It's the structuring of the debt and underwriting the borrow, not the asset itself. I could give two rips about the house. The house is irrelevant to me. Okay. We're buying debt. We're leveraging and arbitraging. So this is what the problem is, that when people get to me, it's too late. It's too late. They've already didn't negotiate the deal correctly with the buyer. They already didn't set up the deal correctly with the seller. I mean, with the seller when they bought it, or with the buyer when they sell it. Sebastian, what are we selling this on a wrap mortgage to the buyer that we have on the table at right now? What's the rate?
Well,
Potentially
at a 8.5.
8.5. I'm not a fan of 8.5 personally. It's not a horrible number, but it's not. I give it a B minus. Okay, I'd like to see something north of 9.5, and I'll explain that in a second. But it's a hell of a lot better than 6. There was all these smart people out here that 2-3 years ago, when I started doing Subto transactions, getting 2.5, 3.5% Wells Fargo debt, and turn around and wrapping it at 5 and 6%. Well, good luck. Good luck if you have a due on sale trying to get your money back out of a note, because note buyers, like I'm a note buyer. Okay. Everything I do and everything I've talked about up to this point in time, is for one thing and one thing only. It's to create the note. Period. I don't care about I don't care about anything. I care about the note. That I can care about controlling real estate, not owning it. And I get that from cash flow by being a bank. That's what we do. So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to act, think, and be a bank. I need to make sure that I do things correctly. And the way, and if as a note buyer, okay, if I'm going to buy a note, or if you're going to, anybody that's going to invest into a note, when banks sell the notes, they sell it on Wall Street, hedge funds, private equity groups. They're selling it 105% on a 5% coupon. Well, how the hell are they selling it 5%, a 5% coupon, and selling it for over UPB? Well, the reason is because those buyers of those notes aren't buying it for long-term you know, profitability. They're doing it for asset protection, or not. I mean, asset preservation. Excuse me. Okay, so they're trying to protect it. So guess what they know? They know that Bank of America knows what the hell they're doing, right? They know that they know how to underwrite a buyer, set up a file, you know, and they have a high degree of probability that that's going to be a performing note. Not so much the case in the private note world. Okay, in fact, it's quite the opposite. Here's what we know about private mortgage notes. First of all, it's a $25 billion industry that nobody understands how big it is. $25 billion. Of that $25 billion, 80% of all these private mortgages are generated by mom and pop note creators. Inexperienced. They don't even go through Dodd-Frank, any of that stuff. That's number two. Number three is that they don't properly underwrite the borrower. They don't stack the collateral file properly. And as a result of it, the value of that note is extremely low. They're not getting 105% for it. Guess what they're getting? About 82% if it's performing. Well, that's a hell of a big number difference. Hell of a big difference. Okay? Because the note buyers in the private world know that over 95% of the notes that are created are done wrong. They didn't underwrite them correctly. They didn't structure the debt properly. They didn't do any of this stuff. Well, this is exactly what we do. And because why us structuring it allows us to come in and buy these notes in the event, if and when you want to sell. So this is super, super important. So if you're going to be in this space and you're going to do wrap mortgages, I'm telling you right now, if you're not going to do them the right way, don't do them at all. You'll be creating a problem financially and potentially legally that you're just not going to want to play around with. Okay, so that's what we can help you with, especially in Texas. So 8.5% is not horrible. I imagine you're not trying to sell this note anyway. You want to arbitrage and take the difference in the cash flow, I'm assuming. Is that correct? Is that why you're doing it?
I'm actually looking to sell the note right now.
So what's the underlying debt on it? You said you bought it sub
3.625.
So if you're going to write it for 8.5% and you got a 3.625% underlying debt, why would you ever sell that and pay off that debt? Or do you think you don't have to pay off the underlying debt?
I don't know. I guess what I was thinking is that by selling it, I would get a large amount of capital, and then I could do more wraps.
So short answer is, well, any of that is going to be short-term capital gains, which is the most expensive money you can make. So you don't want to do that. The only reason why you'd want, well, I'm not going to tell you what you would want to do. The only reason why I would want to sell a note is if I'm forced to sell the note. Okay.
Okay.
Why would I want to sell something that's a cash flowing asset that I just put together that I can get perpetuity for 10 or 15, maybe even 20 years on? Okay. That's tremendous value. I mean, I think if you see it if you run it in, like if you get the copy of the deal evaluator software and you can go download it, I'll just I think you can go to, I'm going to put in the chat here. So two things I want you, actually, you know what? I'm going to show you this. I'm going to play this video real quick here. This is, and then I want to go find it. Hang on one second. Hang on one second. Let me share my screen. I have to switch to, hopefully you can hear it when I do this. Share my screen.
If somebody was forced to sell the note, would you and be able to buy those wrap notes?
Yes. if they're structured properly. This is where I was going with all of this, okay? Because this is the difference between getting 82 cents on the dollar versus closer to par, okay? 100%. So let me share my screen here. Let me see if I can make this. I think I got to change this over here. Give me 1 second.
Mhm.
This is only about a minute video.
Yeah.
All right, let me see. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, super. Let me hit play on this. Oh, hang on. Let me turn this off. I don't know why. Trying to switch my Bluetooth back and forth. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. Let me know that can you hear this?
Management solutions.
Yes.
Okay, let me start it over.
Home Partners, nationwide transaction management solutions, specializing in note creation, underwriting, and compliance for creative financing transactions. 100% turnkey solution. In-house, top industry experts to protect your transaction. Over 2,000 wrapped mortgage transactions, completed since 2015. We help you protect the integrity of the transaction. Are you files compliant? We got you covered. Our team of experts will make sure files are created and meet these guidelines. Our client collateral files are institutional grade and are bank quality. Just like Chase, Wells Fargo, or Bank of America, collateral files typically have over 500 pages, more than 80 documents, and 50+ disclosures. USA Home Partners helps our clients protect their sellers, buyers, lenders, and the deal maker by following bank underwriting guidelines. As a USA Home Partners client, you get access to our world-class team. Private mortgages are in high demand and obtain maximum value with our note creation and certification process through USA Note Pro. Did you know? Over 90% of all private mortgage notes would fail a bank audit. Improper note structuring can cost you 10, 20, even 50% of your note value. Deal Evaluator, Subto, and creative financing software optimize your wrapped mortgage deals. Find private lenders for your gap funding. Analyze complex deals in minutes. Generate cash now, cash flow, and cash later. Custom proprietary note management platform. Cloud-based software for evaluation and managing notes, investment analysis, and borrower management from USA Note Pro. Custom dashboard management. Monitor your note portfolio, generate reports, and sell your notes with a click of a button. Get access to our exclusive training on Subto wrap mortgages, compliance and underwriting, the perfect note blueprint, and 10 subject matter experts, and over 8 hours of high-level content. USA Home Partners, bank quality underwriting for private mortgage note creators, specializing in creative financing transactions. Get compliant and get started today.
All right. That makes sense?
Yes.
All right. So that's what we do. I mean, that's the transactional side of the business. Okay. So we can help with all that. So like when it comes in, but the reason why I show you and I tell you this, because you already, well, whether you got lucky or not, I don't know, using Tiago. I mean, there would be,
It was luck.
and you probably heard it probably came from me internally. You probably heard it. I don't know where it came. Did it come from Sebastian or how'd you find out about Tiago?
No, the wholesaler I bought it from, that's who he
Buy it
uses.
from
Bara, can't think.
Myron?
Say what?
Did you buy it from Myron?
No, Vara, Vara, Hama. I'm gonna butcher his name. Hama.
Yeah, I think I know who he is. Yeah. So, because look, this is who we use, right? I mean, that's when I speak, and I speak at Pace's events, and I mean, I even consulted for Pace when he started Sub 2. I've been doing this a long damn time. I only do Sub 2 wrap. Well, I only do wrap mortgages. Okay, whether it's Sub 2 or seller financing on the front side, it doesn't really make a difference. I only do wrap mortgages. In fact. I built a whole wrap mortgage business, underwriting, compliance, and note creating business that I sold to a federally chartered bank in 2018. I know what the hell I'm doing. Okay. not anybody else does. And I have not found anybody on the planet to this moment in time that even comes close to doing it, how we do it and why we do it the way we do it. Is there other people that do wrap mortgages? Absolutely. There are other people that do wrap mortgages incorrectly? Absolutely. It's, I would bet, because I look at the notes they want to sell and I go, well, that's going to cost you, you know, we had a note that came in the other day and I can't even buy the damn thing. It was so jacked up. So jacked up. They just did everything wrong. And it's like, and I feel bad because, they're sort of screwed. They're really sort of screwed because if you the reason why we write high quality notes so that in the event of a due on sale, if I write a high quality note, okay, and I write it for $300,000 and I stack that collateral file properly and I underwrite the borrower correctly and I do everything I'm supposed to do, just like a bank, I got a pretty damn good chance I can find a note buyer that can get me pretty close to my note value. Well, if I write a note for $300,000 and I owe Bank of America $275 because there's no equity in the deal, well, I sell the note for $275 and I pay off Bank of America and I go to the next deal. No big deal. But if you don't do the proper underwriting, okay, and you go write a 6% mortgage and you do some contract for deed instead of mortgage deed of trust, and you don't escrow taxes and insurance, and you self-service it, and you don't get a 1003 application from the borrower and throw them through the Dodd-Frank process. Now that $300,000 note is worth maybe $180,000. You still owe Wells Fargo $275. Somebody's writing a check for $95,000.
Right.
Just because of improper deal structuring. No other reason. So why the hell would you ever went down that path? The reason why people go down the wrong path is because they just don't know. So like, do you know who Mitch Pomeroy is? I don't know how much you follow Subto. So he does a rap class inside of Subto. He's really good.
Yeah, I think I started watching that class if it's who I think it is, but anyway, yeah.
Mitch Pomeroy. So, I mean, super smart guy. He's probably the smartest guy they have in the Subto community relative to wrap mortgages. But they still reach out to me all the time to consult with them on deal structure because there's no one that's done more of these than I have. That's in a private space. It's just true. Mitch Stephen has probably done a few, but doing them the correct underwriting way, like from a bank perspective, there's very, very few that do it because they don't think they have to, or they need to, or they want to, one of the three, right? So that's what we want to do. So what we need to do is we need to figure out if this is going to be the terms of the deal. So relative to this transaction specifically, let me see if I have this, I'm looking for this. So I'm doing a call tonight. So you should get on I don't know if you're free or not, but, let's see here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull this. I'm going to put this in the chat for you real quick. Go in here and get this. I do Q&A call on deal structuring. And you're more than welcome to come.
Yeah.
And if not, you can sign up we do it pretty much every week, but sometimes we do 2 a week. Then, because all that whole transaction management process, I have a whole internal team. I have like 6 attorneys on my team. Sean Clemenson's one of them. Alan Sesker's another one. When we do our calls with my attorney, I usually have 6 to 8 attorneys on these calls. Sean St. Clair is on these calls sometimes. He's learning from us. Matter of fact, Alan Sesker consults for Sean St. Clair, who's the attorney for the quote unquote guru for Subto transactions inside Subto, right?
Right.
So there again, it's all relative, and one person doesn't know everything. I don't surely know everything. That's why I put myself around the best of the best, the people that I know and I can trust that are capable and competent to do this. So there is the registration link. I think we're doing it today at 4 p.m. Arizona time. So,
Okay.
so the question now becomes, okay, get the buyer underwritten, make sure that we have the right terms of the deal. We can send them through the underwriting process. We can manage the transaction. It's going to cost, to underwrite the buyer correctly just from the RMLS side. It's probably $1,500. Okay. to get that in there. So we got to put that into the equation. You have another, you know, since you've already used Sean on the front side, I'll make the back, we can probably get this transaction done for, it's usually, I could probably knock off a few $100. I already know that Sean probably did it correctly, so we don't have to go through and review a bunch of stuff. So that's gonna be, I think that's gonna be, I could probably get that done for $9.95 instead of $14.95. So it'd save you $500 since you already did the front end. And then we can get the buyer through underwriting. We'll get that thing up. We'll make sure the docs are all done. The other thing that I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you do is that we write and we didn't talk about it yet. I always write 2 promissory notes on my wraps. Okay. No one else does it. They don't understand the reason why. Super important because it gives us more flexibility on the exit. And I've done this, like I said, 1,500 times. I did 423 transactions incorrectly. And it cost me over $6 million. I didn't lose $6 million. I lost over $6 million because of the discounts. And I went back and I started looking at it. I mean, this is a long time ago. 423 of them. I went back and did the math. I was so pissed that I didn't figure. I made a ton of money. Don't get me wrong. Okay. I made a ton of money, but the problem was that I could have made even more.
Right.
So when we write these deals, we want to get maximum value long term. And the way we do it is by structuring it. So when I write 2 mortgage notes, I've done the math hundreds of times. The net effect in the event of an exit between writing a first and a second, the collective value between breaking it up into first and the seconds yields more money than selling it as a one note. Because I'm not gonna get into the details on why it is. It doesn't cost you anything more to do it and you get to hold the note. So let's just say the deal you're gonna write right now. Well, if you don't exit out of it, which I highly recommend that you consider not doing, you write instead of writing a $300,000 note, you write one for 200 and one for 100, okay, or one for 250 and one for 50. It's still $300,000, and you're still getting the cash flow regardless coming in. It still adds up to be the same because we're going to keep the rate and the term the same on the first and the second, at least for right now.
Right.
Sometimes we change it, but for all intents and purposes, it's the same. So now we're just breaking it down into 2 notes. The buyer doesn't care because the payment doesn't change. The servicer doesn't care because they're just going to collect the payment and disperse it accordingly to what the agreement sets. The value is that if you have a high equity position in it, and say you go 10 years before a due on sale comes up, okay, and you have a 3.5% here, and you wrote it 8.5 here. Go run amortization tables and tell me what the payoff balances are between both of them in 10 years. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Now, guess what? Now I could take that first lien note that I wrote, I could sell it, pay off Bank of America, and guess what? I still have.
Right. So
Still have a second note.
okay. Yeah.
Worth a hell of a lot more money than selling it at a discount. Why would I want to sell it? Okay. The financial impact is over 3x. Here, let me show you something real quick.
Is the second smaller note at a higher interest to account for the payment that it's supposed to be together?
Say that one more time.
Is the second smaller note at a higher interest so that it can equal the payment that it should be collectively?
No, we just break it down so it gives us flexibility. What the hell is going on? I want to go to, why it's here. Let's do this. Yeah, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. And then I have a whole note management portal here. Like let me show you this real quick and I'll show you something. Let me pull up so here's some of the notes that I have. So I can go click on a note right here. Let's go pull up Teton, for example. So I can go to my related notes. So here's a note right here. This is the wrap. Okay. This is the underlying debt. Okay. 3.5 at $2,500 a month. Here's all the information on it. I wrote a first and a second. My sum of my payments net is $1,489 a month. Why the hell would I ever sell off debt at 3.5%? I wouldn't. Not unless you force me to. That's the whole point. Why this is what banks do, right? I don't want to get rid of it unless I absolutely have to. Okay. And it does a bunch of other stuff, but that's not what I want to show you. I want to show you what the financial impact on. So let's just say that you can keep a $50,000 note, okay? And let's just use 8.5%, okay? Type. That payment,
You have a decimal for
yeah, I
the,
got it, wrong place. That, I got one too many zeros. Okay, here we go. $384 a month, okay? So
Right.
let's just say, let's just say that in 10 years that you got that the first lien goes away. Okay, well, in 10 years is 120 payments. That first note of $50,000 in 10 years still has a $44,000 balance on a $50,000 coupon, on a $50,000 face value. Why
Right.
would you want to go away with this? But here's the thing. If you were to sell this $50,000 note, you know, at 8%, like a note, if this is a second lien and you had to get rid of it, okay? You might, if you're good at finding a buyer and it's perfectly underwritten and it's still performing, the yield on this is probably gonna, let's just say you could find a buyer at 16%, okay? That means the value on that is gonna be about $28,000. That's it, okay? That's $22,000, okay? Or, let's go back to what it was. Or would you rather just, you can take the 384 and divide it by $28,000. What does that come out to be? You're gonna get all your money back in, what is that? Somebody, you got a calculator here, Andy? Let's see if I can have it here. I don't have it here. Let's see.
what are you doing? The
I was
50,000?
take 28,000 divided by 384. Just take it on the calculator.
It's 72.91.
72 months. So that means that's only, what is that, 6 years?
Years, yeah.
So in 6 years, you get all, if you don't sell it, in 6 years, you get the same amount and you get the back 28 or 24 years. Why would you ever sell that damn thing? Because here's the bottom line. The 30-year projected payout on that, if it goes full term, is $138,000. So why would you sell it for $28,000?
Right.
Unless you absolutely had to. Well, you
Yeah.
don't have to, so don't sell it. That's the bottom line. Okay? You don't put yourself in a position you have to sell it. So that's the bottom. That's why we don't sell. Okay?
Sure. Yeah.
You're way, way better off by leaving it there. Okay? Unless you need the cash. But you're better off if you need cash. You're better off just flipping it or doing an assignment on a deal to get the cash transactional. You don't
Right.
want to use notes as a transactional model because the discounts just will crush you. So let me
Right.
show you the difference since I'm on here. Let's just take a $300,000 note, okay? And let's just look at the financial impact difference. So if you were to write this at 8.5%, okay, that's 2306. If you had to sell this tomorrow in today's rate and everything, you're gonna probably need to get, if it's really, really good, you're probably gonna have to pay a 12% yield on that, okay? Because rates are high right now. People can take their money, invest in, you know, in very secure investments and get 8%. So if
Right.
they're gonna take a risk on a buyer, they're gonna want a better return. So a sophisticated note buyer is gonna want about 12% right now. I'm gonna want 12%, okay? If it's stacked correctly. And if it's not, then from there, we'll start deducting. So let's just say it's 12. Could you go find a buyer at 8 or 9%? Yes, but you have to look for them. There's a lot of mom and pop, you know, IRA account holders that would love to have that in their portfolio. You just got to go find it, okay? So if I wanted to buy this note from you today at a 12% yield with this payment, my price to use 224. $75,000 discount, okay?
Right.
Remember that. Let me go back to 8.5%, where you had it at, okay? Let's just say you write that at 9.5 instead of 8.5, okay?
Mhm.
Must resolve the payment, okay? Now I'm gonna solve it for 12 again. What was it? It was about $75,000 discount, right?
Right. Yeah.
We go back to the same 12, save $300,000. Now it goes all the way up to $245,000. So now it's that's a $20,000 difference
Right.
on just writing for a point higher. Okay.
Right.
It's a huge difference. What we see here is that when you have this $300,000, let me show you the impact when you write even worse. You know, we got guys coming to me and say, hey, I got a 6% mortgage that I created. I need to sell the note because the bank called the note due because I didn't do the insurance correctly or, whatever. Now I want a 12%. Now I still need my same 12%. It's worth $175,000. That's it.
Right.
Very good luck. Good
Right.
luck. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you got a huge problem. You got a huge problem now. Okay. The bank's going to call the note. Okay. You put an owner finance buyer in that property. That's their house. Okay. I don't care if you do proper disclosures and you let them know all about this. You do not want to you don't want to get in a legal battle as an entity with the consumer. Ain't gonna turn out well. Okay.
Right.
So now you have a choice, but you still owe $275,000 to Wells Fargo. This is all the notes worth right here. 175. Where's that $100,000 come from? Well, you got a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So now you got a financial problem. So guess what? Wells Fargo's chugging down the road. They're going to go foreclose on this property. Okay. So if you don't solve this $100,000 problem before it gets to foreclosure, now you really got problems because you still got the $100,000 problem. And guess what else you have? You had a problem with the seller that you negotiated with to protect them. Now they're going to have a problem. And now you have a buyer that that you sold it to on a wrap that just lost their house. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you get that problem too. So now you got not only financial problems, but you got legal issues
Right.
more than likely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not something I want to deal with.
No. And this is what I'm saying is, so if you can't structure this correctly, don't do these deals. Just telling you right now. Don't panic and go write this as a 6% note just to get a buyer in a house. I'm telling you, you would be better off just negative cash flowing it and doing something different than
Right.
it just would not work. You would be better off turning it into a rental and losing $400 or $500 a month until the market corrected or did whatever needed to be done.
Uh-huh.
Protect it. I would never write a deal here unless I have it from the seller with a seller carry. I bought it with seller financing.
Right.
They are truly the bank, not Bank of America. They owned it free and clear. They are the bank to me. Because then
Right.
it's different. It's a whole different ballgame.
Right.
Okay. But if it's Subto and there's underlying debt, no way in hell I'm writing that there unless I know that I have a way to exit out of it. That's it. So if you
Right.
get cash, because look, here's the bottom line. Okay. This is where knowing what you're capable of doing is. Let's go back to your 8.5%. Okay.
Let me send you the counter that we're looking to do if you want to plug it in. Look, I just
Hang on 1 second. So even if you write this deal at $300,000 and 8.5%, and Bank of America calls the note, okay, and you owe them $275, okay. If you have the financial capacity to write a check for $275, then you can do these all day long, okay.
Right.
Because let's think about it. Let's just say I don't need to know your financial position, doesn't matter. But as long as you can get a check to Bank of America or whoever for the $275, the underlying debt is paid off. Okay. Okay. So what? So if you pay $275 and now you are the lender to your borrower and you're making 8.5% on a $300,000 note, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Not horrible. Right. Right.
Especially when it's amortized and it's worth $830,000 over time. But if you
Right.
don't have the $275 to pay it, which 95% of people that are doing Subto transactions don't have, that's the problem. Because money cures all
Right.
all problems. It cures 99.5% of them. Okay. If Wells Fargo calls this note due and then you owe them $275, because here's the deal. If this is $275 is what you pay them off, here's your yield. Your yield is 9.48%. Is that a good return? I think it's good enough. You still got the house as the asset as collateral. You're getting paid amortized money. It's worth $830,000. It's not the worst thing in the world, right? You're making
Right.
9.48%, go get them to refinance out of it, out of that deal if you need to, or now, once you paid it off, just go now. Now you can come back in and say, now that I took my money and I paid off Wells Fargo, well, I want my 275 back because I can make more than 9.48%. Great. Go find somebody that wants to invest $275,000 that has an IRA account or patient capital that wants a 9.5% return.
Right.
There's a lot of doctors and lawyers and whatever that are sitting on a bunch of cash and would love to make 9.5%. Okay. You just got to
Right.
go find them. But you can't, you're not going to get them to do this deal unless it's been done correctly. And that's the whole point of all of this. So the question is now, where are you on this deal? Okay. So the answer is, I don't know. So if you're at 8.5, we can just do the math on it. I'll just show it on here real quick. What's the underlying debt on this? Well, what are you selling it for, Sebastian?
It's we're looking at countering at 295.
Okay, how much down are you gonna, so what's the note gonna be?
260.
Okay, I'm just gonna use one note in here because it's gonna be the same rate in term. It doesn't really matter. 260 at 8.5%. Okay.
Underlying debt is
Your
at
P&I is gonna be $2,000. Okay, so let's remember
Right.
that. Okay. And what is the underlying debt right now?
It's like 255.
255. Okay. And how old is it? What's the rate on it?
3.625.
So it's probably about a year and a half old.
It was 21. So
Okay, so
going on three.
let's put it in here and we'll restart it because it's important. 3.625. That payment would have been about 1162. Is that correct? The P&I?
I feel like it was higher than that.
by like $40.
Is there, well, not based on this.
The debt was
Calculator doesn't lie.
Yeah.
because
What do you
255
think the payment is?
now.
What's the P&I payment?
1209.
All right, let's just put 1209 in here. Okay. So what do you think is right? The rate or the balance?
So the
Oh, I know.
balance is that was a rounding. It
So
was
that
like
was the original balance was 265. That's what it was. Okay.
something like that.
So if I go out to, when I'm looking for 255 right now, that means this note is about, yeah, that's exactly what it was. I guessed right. May of 2021 was the approximate start date. And in February of we're in 2024 now. Let's see, 2024. It's 250. Well, it doesn't really matter for this illustration purposes. Okay. So now now you're making cash flow in this situation of about $800 a month.
Right.
That's the math. Okay. And then whatever the cash, how much cash did you put into this deal?
Right around 35,000.
And was that your money?
Yeah.
All right, super. So so you're going to be a little bit upside down on cash because you gotta pay Sebastian, you got underwriting, you got closing, got all that stuff. What's the down payment going to be on this, Sebastian?
35.
35,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're probably going to invest, let's just call it, let's just say you get net, I'm just going to be conservative and say you get net 12 back. Okay. So that means you're going to be, invested about $23,000. Okay.
Right.
On a, $800 a month cash flow. So if we pull up the calculator here, you see it. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
You see the calculator? So
Yeah.
let's just do the math. So 800 times 12 is 9,600. Divide that by about 22,000.
Oh, you know what? We don't see if you're on something else. We're not
Oh yeah,
seeing.
let me reshare. Let me do new share. Here.
I
Okay.
see.
Okay.
Divide that by your, so
Yep.
800 times 12 is 9,600. I'm figuring out the cash because you're going to have a little bit of an investment that you're making here of
Right.
$20,000 for some period of time. So your cash on cash return on that is 43%.
It's pretty good.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you go the other way and you say 22,000 divided by 800 a month, I'm sorry, 22,000 divided by 800 a month going to take you 27 months, a little over 2 years to get all your capital back. But you wrote a 360-month term. So
Yeah,
so you're basically getting, it takes you 2 years to get the cash, to get back the cash neutral. And then, then you're $800 a month in perpetuity for the next, however long. If we do a good
Right.
job of writing these deals, it could be 15 years.
right.
And what we do, and if you're in part of our academy, and this again, that's something else doesn't teach. I never give up. I never let a buyer that I sell a property to ever sell that property to anybody but me, unless I say they can. This is what we do. I never let them refinance unless I tell them they can. I get right of first refusals. I'm going to make them a better, if I want to stay in the deal, I'm going to make them a better offer. So let me explain something to you. What are you selling this house for? 285? Is that what you said, Sebastian? What are you countering at? What was the price?
295 counter.
295. So let's just say it's 295. Let's say 3 years from now, the guy wants to move to Florida. Okay. Sebastian, just give me a swag. In 3 years, what's this house worth if it's worth 295 today?
305.
305. Oh, even better. Great. Mr. Buyer, I'll pay you 305. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm a nice guy. I'm going to pay you 310 for just give me an opportunity. So instead of you selling at 305 and paying 6% to Sebastian, okay, to help you do your sale, I'm just going to give you 310 and we're going to cut the realtor out of the equation. And I'm just going to give you 310. Okay, great. So everybody's happy, right? You're happy. I'm happy. So let me show you this. So let me go back to here. Okay. So now let's go back to the 295 we did. 295. Okay. This is what we wrote. Actually, we wrote the note for how much? 265. What was the down payment?
35K, so 260.
So we wrote the note for 260. Okay. And we wrote it 8.5%. Okay. Okay. So let me blow this up so I can see it. So let's go out. We start the day today. We'll start it in April 2024. 3 years goes by. Okay. Well, you still owe me 253. Okay. So 310 minus 253 is how much? 50,000, 55,000.
Yeah, close to,
Great. Here's your check for $55,000. Okay. So now I got a house back that's worth 310. Okay. I paid $55,000 for it. And I leveraged $55,000 cash. But what do I still have?
So the house.
Well, and I also have the
the
underlying
note.
debt
Yeah,
at 3.625%. That's got 3 more years of pay down on it. So if I go back to
Right.
your original, I think it was 265 was the original. And it was 3.625. This was the original loan amount. Okay. Check this out. Your payment was 1208. Is that what it was? Right?
yeah.
So let's just say, so we had 3 years on the front. I'm not gonna go change. Well, I can go back to May of 2021 when this started. Okay. And now I'm gonna look out at 3 years from today, which is gonna be, call it May of 2027. Right? May of 2027. What do I owe in May of 2020? I only owe 232. So I just leveraged $55,000 for a $310,000 house, which I'm going to go get again. I'm going to go get another $35,000 down. So now I'm only in it for $20,000, but I got almost an $80,000 equity position now because I only owe 232 now. Good. So think about this. 3 more years goes by. Now it's worth 330. Guess what I'm doing? Same goddamn thing again if I want to.
Right.
Eventually I have a free and clear house over here. This is what you do. And so
Yeah.
one more thing, and I gotta get going on another call and we can get you set up. So let's go back to your 265 and 8.5%. Okay. Same thing works on the refinancing side. What was that?
It was like 209, 2009.
It was 2000.
Oh, so sorry. It was 1,000. It was base 2000. Yeah.
1999. So why is this? So we financed 260, I guess. Okay, fine. 3 years goes by and the buyer that we sold it to says, you know what, man, I got my act together. I can go get Bank of America is going to give me a 6% mortgage. Okay. 6% mortgage. And you say, well, congratulations. Let me see if I can meet or beat that. Okay. Okay. 3 years goes down. Let's just say now the balance is 255. Okay. So I can come in here and I can say, well, I can come in this, and I can say, well, you owe me 255 now. Do I want to do 6%? Knowing my underlying debt, it's getting paid down and it's only 1208. And this guy's been a stellar borrower. He's made every payment on time. Wells Fargo's not been a problem for 3 years. Do I want to roll the dice and now make 1528 a month and pay my 12 and only make $300 of cash flow and keep the game going forward? But guess here, I'm only making $300 a month cash flow. But guess what happened? I restarted the term at another 30 years.
Right.
And so now I got 6 years pay down over here with Wells Fargo, and I got a brand new 30-year note.
Right.
Go run the amortization table on that and see what that looks like. I'm not saying you want to do this. You might say, you know what? Go refinance, pay me my balance of 200 and go back to 8.5%. Pay me my 250, and I'll pay off my 230 to the bank, take my 20 and go do something else. You can do that too. But why wouldn't you want to have that opportunity to do that? Hell
Right.
yeah, I would. Hell yeah. I'm not saying you're going to want to do it, but why wouldn't the borrower do it?
Right.
Yeah. Now he's got to go cough up a bunch of financials and all that crap and go through the underwriting process. They got to get an appraisal done on the house, might have to do an inspection on the house. When all we can say is that, you know what? We'll just meet the bank rate and give you a 6%, and we'll do a new loan and give you we'll replace the new problem. We'll do a loan modification and restart the loan, and boom, we're done.
Right.
$3 a month is better than $0 a month.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So that's it. That's it in a nutshell. So the next thing is, the question is, you guys got to make a determination if this, whatever your counter is. Then, assuming that you come up with that agreement, then my recommendation would be send it over to my team. Let us do the transaction management for this. Okay. We're going to go, then we'll take the buyer, we'll get them through underwriting. All you do is get the hell out of the way and let us do what we need to do. So we can get the borrower underwritten correctly. We can structure the promissory notes properly. We can get the disclosures done. We can do everything the way it needs to be done, get servicing set up on the note properly, and, make sure the insurance is done properly, because you got to change. I don't know. Did you get new insurance when you bought the Subto?
In the process of doing that right now.
Yeah, well, in the process means it should have been done the day that you closed on it, but that's another discussion.
Sure.
Okay. And if we're that close to my recommendation is, if we're that close to getting this borrower underwritten, would this not change the insurance twice? I wouldn't change it twice, because we're going to have the buyer qualified and have his insurance in place in 2 weeks. Right. So
Right.
there's no reason to go run out and, go run up another red flag. Right. There's no reason to get your own investor policy and then turn around and get the homeowner's policy in place. Okay. But there again, we'll do all this for you. Okay. We'll make sure that this is done properly, because there is a right and a wrong way to do insurance, especially buyer insurance. So that's it. Who's the underlying debt with anyway?
Lakeview
bank.
Mortgage.
Who is it? Lakeview? Okay. And do you know what kind of loan it is?
It's FA.
FHA?
FHA, yeah.
So how much is the PMI on it?
There isn't any.
No,
Uh,
no PMI on an FHA loan? How much did they put down when they bought the damn thing?
Maybe
I haven't seen an FHA loan in the last 1,000 FHA loans I've looked at. All have had PMI. It's the biggest government scam out there, is PMI insurance. You can't even get it removed a lot of the times you can't even get it removed anymore. You used to be able to, when you got to a certain loan to value, you can call for an appraisal, get it reappraised, and if your LTV was below 80%, they would waive PMI. They don't even do that anymore. They lock it in for the term of the life of the term. So I would double check on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would be on the mortgage statement. How do you know it's an FHA loan?
That's what I'm looking at right now. Maybe it's not an FHA. I think it might just be a
If it was an
more-
FHA, there'd be PMI on the bottom.
yeah.
I have not seen an FHA loan in a very, very long time, at least something that's been written in the last 5 years that doesn't have PMI. FHA loans from 10 or 15 years ago, they some of that stuff dropped off and things, but they got smart. Well, they think they got smart and they start adding it because they have that PMI. When you figure out the actual impact on the payment, it's over an additional point and a quarter. So a 3.5% loan is really like 4.5. It's crazy. So, but anyway, let me, so when you get ready, all I need you to do is give me the contract. Okay. And the terms. Okay. We will put everything together and then, just leave, if you do a seller financing addendum, which is what we'll do, we'll have to, just leave it open. We'll get that all get done through the RMLO. Okay. You can say, don't put in the payment and stuff, that we'll recalculate that. That'll all get disclosed anyway, at the point of, underwriting through the disclosures. Okay. Now, Sebastian, if you need something because you're the agent of record on it, then we'll have to complete it to whatever we is, but it could just get changed. I would put it above so that if it comes in lower, we don't have to go back and change it again. Okay. So I would say, I don't know how you have to do it on your side. We very rarely do we don't do the seller financing addendum until after the fact, unless we're absolutely forced to. Okay.
Okay.
So just get that over and then send it to us, send it to me, send it to my team. I'll get it set up. I'll get somebody assigned to it and we'll tell you the next steps from there. Okay. And then all
Awesome.
you have to do is sit back and wait to get the closing, review and approve the documents. We'll get everything set up for you. We'll manage the entire process. You'll have to obviously fill out your documents for the seller of record and lender documents on the new buyer. We'll need to know your LLC docs and stuff like that. But if we're done with Sean, we're just going to go back to him. They have him create all this stuff anyway. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
I really appreciate this. Thank you so much for taking the
All
time.
right, super.
This was
If you need anything
valuable.
else, let me know. I will, I'll send you a copy of this recording. I'll give it to both of you guys. So Sebastian, next time you got another Trevor come, instead of having an hour conversation, just tell them to go watch this video. Make everybody's job a lot easier. I don't think I said anything incorrectly. I think we're good to go. All
Thank you.
right.
Appreciate it.
And
You're good.
everything, and hey, Trevor, join the call whenever you can.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we do, and we actually do real deals. And in fact, if you can go to dealevaluator.com and download, there's a 30-day trial on it. Go download it and go put this deal in there. And then once you get it built in, come on the call tonight. Come on, and we'll actually show the financial impact on doing it through the software.
Okay. Yeah.
Dude, the software is phenomenal. It's not some crappy spreadsheet that everybody else uses. I
Yeah.
used to use a crappy spreadsheet. That's why I know it's crappy.
Yeah.
We built software on a Google platform by Google engineers that only does creative financing transactions. I can run 18 amortization tables through the software and it all communicates and tells me to the penny exactly the projected profitability on a deal. So like this deal, for example, one of the things that you didn't do, which is a huge mistake on my side of it, you put $35,000 into this deal. Did you create a lien position on it when you did it? Did anybody tell you to create a lien position when you did it?
No.
Well, let me tell you something. You should have created a lien position when you did it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because now if something happens now, your $35,000 it could get exposed and somebody else can come in that position. Now, $35,000 isn't a lot of money in the grand scheme of things, but it's still your money. We
Right.
still want to protect it. Always want to lean. We always want to lean. Okay. That's there again. It's all part of the process. When we buy it, we would never let that happen.
Right.
Okay. These are things that no one tells you how to do because they don't tell you how to be a bank. Would a
Right.
bank lend money? Would a bank ever lend money and not lien a property? Ever?
No.
Absolutely not. So why
Yeah.
should you? Because you lent money to yourself in a capacity, but you could have very easily put a lien on it just the same. Right?
Right.
Your
Right.
company could have been the lien holder and you created a promissory note. Even if you balloon the damn thing, it doesn't matter. Okay. You want a lien position. So that's the, so but getting back to this, on this modeling, what I would do is when you do it, first lien position, Wells Fargo, second lien position is the cash that you need to put into the deal. Okay. Just figure out how much you put in there, use that in there, show the rate, because you should charge yourself a rate anyway. Run it through the model, show the second, the contract price to your buyer and do that. So anyway, I gotta run on another call. We can do on, just try to play around with it. Go to dealevaluator.com. I think I put it in the chat. Just put it in
I
here.
looked it up. Yeah.
Just go to dealevaluator.com. There's actually some video and stuff in there. Do that. And if there's anything else, get on the call tonight, raise your hand and bring the deal on, and we'll walk you through how to use the software on this deal, right?
I
All right,
appreciate
guys.
I'd love to be there. I'm in my W-2 job this afternoon, so unfortunately I won't make it.
All right. Well, no worries. We can do
I-
them every week. So do it the next week and whatever. And we record them so you can go back and see the recording as well.
Great. Awesome.
All right. All right, guys. Have a good one. Take care.
Thanks so much.
All right.